Once upon a midnight dreary, Jake Guentzel was a Pittsburgh Penguin. And in fact, he was a really, really good Pittsburgh Penguin, scoring a maximum of 84 points in 2022. But what if I told you that the trade which saw Jake Guentzel get sent away from Pittsburgh is looking like an even bigger L now because of one name? Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking today about Arizona State University forward Cruz Lucius, a prospect whose rights belong to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and a prospect whose rights will soon belong to another team. Take a look at this tweet posted by Dave Hall. Pittsburgh Penguins prospect Cruz Lucius has reportedly indicated that he will not be signing with the Penguins before his rights expire on August 15th, 2026. The 21-year-old 2022 fourth-rounder enjoyed a career year alongside Bennett Shimek with 46 points, 15 goals, and 31 assists for Arizona State. With some skill in his bag, he should be a name the Vancouver Canucks are all over, even if it's for a depth role in Abbotsford. Now, we can have a conversation about the Canucks, and in fact, that's what I plan to do here. But we do have to establish the story of Cruz Lucius and how this makes the Pittsburgh Penguins look a lot worse here. You see, Cruz was drafted by the Carolina Hurricanes 2022 124th overall. Now, if the name Lucius sounds familiar, it's because he actually does have a brother, Chaz Lucius. They have some pretty cool names, Chaz Lucius and Cruz Lucius. Chaz was a former first-rounder, I believe. That's right, 18th overall by the Winnipeg Jets back in 2021. Although Chaz, unfortunately, has not had the career path that has seen him play NHL games just yet. Once upon a time, we did make a Why I Want video about Chaz Lucius and the story that his profile presented. But Cruz is the younger brother. With his combination of deception and passing skill, Lucius managed to send a staggering amount of pucks to open teammates in the slot. When he gets the space to prepare his plays, he can manipulate defenders and connect highly difficult plays. This is a guy who, back in his draft-eligible season, was pretty good for the NTDP. He didn't play too many games, but he still was sub-point per game, and he was over a point per game for Team USA at the World Under-18s that year. The 4 seasons that we had seen Cruz play with the Wisconsin Badgers and the Arizona State University Sun Devils in the NCAA were all pretty good. Spare last season because he only played 19 games and he had half a point a game in that span. Not the best health-wise for Cruz Lucius, but this previous season with 46 points in 36 games, obviously he had a pretty solid year. Now, let's get into the entire situation with Pittsburgh, because we did mention that his presence makes it kind of worse when you think about some of the trades the Penguins have made. The Jake Guentzel trade is the trade which sent Cruz Lucius all the way to Pittsburgh in the first place. He was drafted by Carolina, but traded over to Pittsburgh in that ill-fated trade, which saw Michael Bunting, Koivunen, Ponomarev, Lucius, a conditional first, and a fifth go over to Pittsburgh for Jake Guentzel and Ty Smith. Now, as we all know, Jake Guentzel and his time in Carolina was not long. He only played 17 regular season games there and 11 playoff games before becoming a free agent and signing with Tampa Bay the next season. Carolina traded away all this stuff, Bunting, Koivunen, Ponomarev, Lucius, a first and a fifth, for Ty Smith and essentially 28 games of Jake Guentzel. Guentzel now is in Tampa and he's got 83 points in 75 games. He's on pace for 90 points. He is an incredible hockey player and Tampa Bay is a pretty good team. But Cruz Lucius was one of these top guys that Pittsburgh got in return. And so to see him declare that he is not going to stick around in Pittsburgh, he is leaving the Penguins organization, he will be signing with a brand new team, obviously that opens the door for other organizations to step in there and try to make things their own. Quick aside, though, Michael Bunting did go over to Pittsburgh in that Jake Guentzel trade. Bunting's time in Pittsburgh wasn't very long either. That guy only had, 79 total games played with the Penguins, split between 2 seasons, before he got traded to Nashville for Luke Schenn. Like, what? How in the world does that go down? Anyways, Cruz Lucius was one of these top prospects included in the deal, and if the Vancouver Canucks can get their grubby paws on this guy, it'll be another really intriguing pickup as a prospect with some undiscovered value that has started to make reigns in a pretty big way. 21 years old, so it's not like he is super, super young, but he's not super old either. And scoring at over a point per game clip in the NCAA is always a pretty good assessment of anybody. If you take a look at the NCAA in its entirety, you will see that Lucius was near the top 20-ish of points. He was here 11th overall, Arizona State University. Only 10 college players had more points than he did. So if the Vancouver Canucks, who don't have anybody here in the top of the list at all, can get their hands on him, I'd say that's a pretty good pickup. Let's read some of the replies to Dave Hall's tweet over here that suggests the Canucks should be in on Lucius, even if it's for a depth role. Why wouldn't he sign with an NHL team? That's crazy. Well, he will, just not with Pittsburgh. The reason hasn't been told, but players do this every once in a while. It is always the gamble of drafting NCAA players. Another reply says that makes the Guentzel trade a total bust. Okay, yeah, Jake Guentzel, obviously a franchise player for the Pittsburgh Penguins when he was there, Stanley Cup champion, yada yada yada. There's so much to like out of Guentzel, but really, you couldn't have imagined this. Like, the Penguins 2 years ago, trading away Jake Guentzel, that was seen as the logical move. The guy's contract was expiring, and there was this notion that maybe he wouldn't want to stick around in Pittsburgh because they were losing so much. But now look at the Penguins. The Pens are really good now. The last few twilight years of Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Chris Letang's time together, and Erik Karlsson playing like the 100-point Ottawa Senators version of Erik Karlsson that existed once upon a time. That team is having a John Cena-like ascension run towards the end of their careers. And I'm not saying that Jake Guentzel wouldn't have wanted to have been a part of that, but I am saying that, hey, there is probably a little bit of remorse there, even when you acknowledge the fact that Guentzel is doing very well on a very good team like Tampa Bay. I don't know, it's just better when everybody's winning, right? And the only person who is losing out here is, I guess, Pittsburgh, because Cruz Lucius is deciding not to sign with them. Could this be Vancouver's opportunity to strike? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.